good, AK gang? It's your boy Angelo Kimbro, and I'm back with another reaction video. And today I'm going to be reacting to King Von, the Old Block Menace documentary by Rap Hive. King Von was a motherfucker. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get straight to the video.
Taken out on the streets of Atlanta, rapper King Von was known by many names. Before he was taken out on the streets of Atlanta, rapper King Von was known by many names. O-Block deadliest gangster, the ghost of O-Block, grandson, and the menace of O-Block. O-Block may have seen many gangsters, but none were as notorious as the infamous King Von. From street robbery to street hits, King Von did them all as he haunted the city of Chicago.
If you do a feature with Modell, Tyreek, P5, or Malcolm. Look out, folks, look. That's a no, right? I'm assuming that's a no.
Hey, folks, I'm talking you on some police.
I don't even, who are those? Am I supposed to know who they are?
Man, them people is dead, you bogus. No, I'm just playing. What's that? Let's go to the next question.
Trying to count my bodies. What? You gonna need 3 both hands trying to count my bodies. These were the words of O-Block Menace and King Von as he rapped on the track Evil Twin alongside rapper Lil Durk. King Von would brag about the people he had allegedly eliminated while he was alive, and some of these names have been made public, including the scariest hitter on King Von's rival block, Jakira Barnes. Just like many of the Chicago teens who have lost their lives in the gun violence, Jakira Barnes, who lived on the 63rd block and was affiliated with the Gangster Disciples gang, was deeply rooted in the teenage violence that has reared its head in Chicago since the last decade. The story of Jakira and her alleged assassin, King Von, is like the story of no other. King Von was known to take out his ops without feeling any remorse for them, and Jakira was known to not get involved in romantic relations with men. But somehow, King Von and Jakira often found themselves flirting with one another on social media. Could the relationship between these two gangsters have been paradoxical?
This nigga said flirting with each other. Jakira Barnes was not, bro. Jakira Barnes was not flirting with that nigga. If you look, if he shows the receipts, the tweets between them two, Jakira Barnes was not flirting with this nigga. And I feel like King Von was just trolling her ass. But you saying that they was flirting with each other is cap, my boy. They was not flirting with each other. And people who from Chicago, I'm personally not from Chicago, but I know people who from Chicago who damn near, who know about this shit. Let me know in the comments, was she actually flirting with him, or was King Von flirting with her more, or was he just bullshit? Let me know.
Do you think showing their romantic side to each other was just an act to lure one another into a death trap? That may just have been the case, except rapper King Von seemed to have felt more deeply for Jakira as he tried to save her life. Their brewing online romance, which they shared on Twitter for everyone to see, got King Von pleading with her to leave the streets and gang life. After taking the lives of some of O-Block's deadliest gangsters, did King Von really think life? Their brewing online romance, which they shared on
What she say? She said, "Good afternoon, wifey." He said, "LOL, funny. What up, dude?" King Von, LOL. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments, bro. Because I think, obviously, King Von was trolling. And I don't know if her saying, "LOL, what up, dude," was her trolling too, or, like, I don't know.
Twitter for everyone to see, got King Von pleading with her to leave the streets and gang life. After taking the lives of some of O-Block's deadliest gangsters, did King Von really think that she was just going to stop being a gangster? Before she passed away, she bragged in her own right as the deadliest hitter that graced the 63rd in her days.
Jakira Barnes died last month in April. She was 17 years old. She was killed in the Woodlawn neighborhood in a shooting, and she was shot multiple times. And so the police thought that she was targeted, that she was assassinated, essentially.
King Von and Jakira may have had the softs for each other, but that quickly changed after Jakira gunned down some of the biggest gangsters on O-Block, including friends of King Von. 63rd's most notorious hitter, Jakira, was allegedly responsible for taking 20-year-old Odie Perry's life in August 2021 as a retaliation for the murder of her best friend, Shondell Gregory, aka Tuka. Jakira taking out Odie Perry was a major win for 63rd and an even greater loss for O Block. The gangsters from O Block were beyond heartbroken over the loss of Odie, and what better way to honor a young man who they consider a legend than to name their street after him?
Cause he was like one of our first ones that we lost. Like, we weren't losing friends at the time or losing close ones at the time. So when we lost him, everybody felt it.
Ain't that what's his name?
Yeah.
I can't think.
Sorry for your loss, man.
Taking out Odie Perry on Tuka's birthday was no doubt a major win for the retaliation. But do you think the bloodthirsty Jakira Barnes stopped there? She went on to take out top gangsters from O Block, including Sheroid, J Money, and T-Roy. She was also rumored to have ended the lives of J Money and Sheroid, who were members of the Black Disciples and friends with King Von and Lil Durk.
Shooter or a hitter or a assassin. She was known to her rivals as somebody who was willing to shoot first, ask questions later. It's all over the internet. In fact, on her own Twitter site, she called herself Taekwon Assassin. Taekwon was a friend of hers who was killed, and she vowed to avenge his death. So, female shooters and gangs are...
We are sure to give you quality stories straight from our inside sources on the streets of major rap cities. Just make sure to subscribe and stay tuned to Rap Hive to get firsthand information. King Von's legal battles began when he was still a teenager, but luckily for him, he was never really in jail for long. But in the time that he was locked away, the young girl who Von had his eyes on was taking out all of his friends, one headshot at a time. But the question on everyone's mind was, will Von retaliate against KI? On his release from prison, King Von resumed his online romance with Jakira. In a tweet posted to King Von's account, the rapper wrote at Taekwon Assassin, "Good afternoon, what?"
This is October 5th, 2012. He said, LOL. I guess that shit, I'm missing you. I've been having you on my mind a lot on David. Hey, yo. Bro, I feel like this nigga is trolling, bro.
To which KI responded at King Von from the Wick, LOL, found funny. What up, dude? King Von replied to KI's tweet saying, at Taekwon Assassin, LOL, I'm missing you. I be having you on my mind a lot on David. King Von followed up with another tweet where he wrote, at Taekwon Assassin, what's up, ma? You don't miss her? To which Jakira responded saying, at King Von from the Wick, what up, my boy? When we linking, alongside gun emojis. King Von replied saying, LOL, what's with the guns? And on BD, you said you was gonna come see me if I get booked. What happened? But KI wasn't interested in flirting with King Von when he got out of prison. So she decided to tell him about what he missed when he was away. Jakira responded to King Von's tweet saying, how it feel to lose your homie while you behind them bars during that time? The relationship between KI and King Von dwindled after Von got out of prison. Not only did he stop being friendly with her, but he also went on to pull the trigger that ended Jakira's life in April 2014 while she was on her way to a party with some of her friends. There have been many reports concerning the person who pulled the trigger on KI on that fateful day. But according to some recent police reports from the Chicago PD, King Von was the person behind Jakira's elimination. According to the documents released by the authorities, an unknown M1 wearing a gray hoodie and blue jeans approached the victims. The unknown offender then produced a handgun and began firing in the direction of the victims, striking all three. But do you think King Von, who was seemingly in love with Jakira, was indeed responsible for taking her out on the streets of Chicago? Well, if you were in doubt, you're not alone. Since the police report claiming that King Von unalived KI hit the media, many insider sources, including the person who was hit alongside Jakira on that fateful day, have revealed that King Von had nothing to do with KI's passing. On the fateful day of the tragic incident, Jakira was making her way down to a party with her friend, FPG Butter, when she was hit by a hidden hitman. FPG Butter also sustained some bullet injuries on that day, but luckily for him, he survived. Almost 10 years after the incident, FPG Butter has finally opened up on what really happened the day he got hit alongside Jakira Barnes.
Man, what I know is, on my dead, Von didn't kill Kai. Period. That, and I ain't saying that because Fawn didn't kill Kyra. I got shot too. I was right there. I got shot too.
According to FBG Butter, the cops knew that it wasn't King Von who opened fire on them that day and believed that they only put it on King Von because Von had already passed away. FBG Butter revealed that the homicide unit investigating the incident approached him while he was still on his hospital bed, and they asked him if he could identify the person who opened fire at him in Chikira.
They ordered pineapple. You gotta smell the butt to know if it's right.
Only reason why no charges pursued on Vaughn because when homicide came to me, I'm a live victim. They get that, hey, is this the person who shot you? And once I saw who they brought to the pit, no.
In the interview, FBG Butter claimed that someone else identified the hitman when the police were carrying out their investigation all those years ago. But even the person who identified the hitman did not point at King Von when the authorities showed her pictures of the alleged hitman.
Real life, it wasn't him. Cause there was a out there too who she told. She knew who it was. She saw who it was. She told the homicide detectives who it was. You see what I'm saying? But don't nobody speak of her. Her name not even in the paperwork. Lil B Gravy, she sat in the station, she did all that. She pointed him out in the lineup, all that. And motherfucker don't speak.
He, however, claimed that the person who was truly responsible for carrying out the hit had since been taken off the streets during the retaliation and gang wars between 63rd and O Block. There have also been claims from rapper King Lil J, who was very much involved in the Chicago gang activity back in the day, that King Von wasn't the person behind the assassination of Chikira. According to King Lil J, King Von would have never been able to take out Chikira because she was a better shooter than King Von ever was. Despite the official documents that claim that King Von actually ended Chikira, King Lil J stood on his ground that King Von did not take out Chikira.
People are saying King Von, he ended chaos.
So you knocking the fuck off, man. Hell no, that's false, man. They need to go put the rest of that bogus they putting out there. That's false right there.
King Von's major ops were from 63rd, but the gangsters from 63rd weren't the only guys on King Von's hit list. In fact, whether you were his ops or not, if you got on King Von's bad side, he was going to take you out. And this was the case of Derek Johnson, aka P5. Unlike many of the people that King Von took out in his lifetime, P5 had no direct business with King Von. Although a gangster himself, P5 wasn't from 63rd or any of King Von's rival blocks. He was a gangster from Gyro City who was assassinated simply because he went to 63rd on the very day King Von, alongside T-Roy, J Money, and Big A, went out hunting for ops to eliminate. It was about 9:30 a.m. on October 30th, 2012, when 23-year-old Derek Johnson, aka B5, was gunned down on the 63rd 100 block of South Eberhard Avenue in Chicago, aka 63rd. B5's assassination was a shock to many people, as no one knew how he got caught up in the gang wars. Insider sources, however, claimed that on the day King Von took out B5, he was just assassinating people for fun and to rank up with the number of kills his friends had at the time. A couple of hours before the tragic incident, King Von wrote in a tweet, "I ain't been hanging with T-Roy like that, cause he been winning. I gotta catch up first. Give me the Friday, LOL." King Von was never arrested for this, as there wasn't sufficient evidence to place him as a suspect. However, the gangsters on the streets of Chicago believe that King Von was behind the hit, just like he claimed in his tweet. He did everything to increase the number of people he assassinated, and barely a week after the elimination of P5, the O Block's menace struck again. King Von was no doubt O Block's greatest menace, and the assassination of Boss Trail by King Von was just one of the lengths King Von went through to show how terrorizing he was as a gangster. Rodney Stewart, known on the streets of...
How many people do y'all think King Von actually killed, bro? Cause these are supposedly alleged, I guess. I don't know. If y'all do know, let me know. But how many people do you think King Von actually killed? Oh, some real shit.
Chicago as Boss Trail was a gangster from the Gangster Disciple set on 63rd. Boss Trail was gunned down on November 8th, 2012. And according to insider sources, King Von pulled the trigger that ended Boss Trail's life. And unlike many gangsters who have lost their lives to the streets, the story of Boss Trail's death was quite heartbreaking. Boss Trail, like many of the gangsters on the streets of Chicago, was initiated into the gang life as early as age 12 years old. He grew up living life on the streets like a gangster. But as he got older, some of his friends made it out of the hood, which got Boss Trail thinking of how he could make it out too. Luckily for him, he found a way. But will this way out be an easy path? On November 7th, 2012, Boss Trail purchased a bus ticket to leave for Iowa the following day. But he had some business to settle before leaving town. Yet unknown to Boss Trail, this decision was going to cost him his life. You see, Boss Trail had a girlfriend who he was madly in love with, LaDorothy Morrison. But a week before the incident, Boss Trail and LaDorothy broke up. Given how in love the two were, Boss Trail decided to say his last goodbyes to LaDorothy in person on the eve of his journey.
Y'all, I just seen somebody pull up. Hold up. Shh. My door unlocked. She walk in here. It's cool.
This was where things went south. At about 11 p.m. on that fateful night, Boss Trail made his way to the 2600 block of West 83rd Street, which is quite a distance from 63rd Street. But being a man in love, looking to see his belle one last time, Boss Trail defied all odds and made his way to their rendezvous spot. Sadly, LaDorothy was nowhere to be found when her beau got to the spot. But waiting for Boss Trail at their rendezvous spot were some of the deadliest gangsters from O Block: T-Roy, J-Money, Boss Top, and lastly, the Menace himself, King Von. There was no getting out for Boss Trail. He knew he had met his end. Laying lifeless on the street corner was Boss Trail when his body was discovered at 6:50 a.m. on November 8th, 2012. According to official reports, a gun was found underneath his body alongside shell casings. The authorities believe that Boss Trail fired at the people who cut his life short. The most heart-wrenching part of Boss Trail's murder was that the ticket to his freedom was found in his pocket. He was more than ready to leave the hood. After the tragic incident, Boss Trail's ex-girlfriend, LaDorothy, was investigated. She revealed that Boss Trail had always been hopeful about the future and leaving Chicago. We used to always talk about our future, and he would always tell me there was nothing in Chicago, said Morrison. You're going to end up dead or in jail, and he was so looking forward to moving. One person in the rap industry who has always talked about how bad of a menace King Von was to the rap community, and even the black community at large, is Charleston White.
Why does Charleston White hate King Von so much?
Oh, man, he killed black people and bragged about it. He's not, man, he bragged about killing black people, some of his most prolific.
I'm not supposed to be sharing this with you, so listen closely before it gets taken down. The IRS is giving Americans additional spending for only a few more days.
Ever since King Von passed, Charleston White has always questioned why King Von was the one being celebrated while his victims suffered and were mocked. According to Charleston White, King Von was a demon who deserved to die.
That idol is a demon, a self-proclaimed demon. I don't ride with demons. When did black people start riding with demons? Homie, we got grandmothers who pray, mothers who say, son, bless your food before you eat it. When do we, so hear me out.
In an interview, Charleston White defended Quando Rondo, who was involved in King Von's murder. According to Charleston White, King Von was a menace and a demon who deserved to die.
He's celebrated, right? You got celebrities who take pictures in front of his mural. What about his victims' family? What about the people he's been accused of? Why don't y'all ever speak for them?
Don't you see why don't you see it the other way, though?
I can't, though, because I'm on the victim side.
At every chance he's got, Charleston White has always made sure to call out King Von for being a menace in O Block. Quite recently, Charleston White got so angry when talking about King Von that he pulled out a gun on his interviewer. During an interview with Chicago's DJ University, Charleston pulled a stunt that may have never been seen before in all of the YouTube podcast series. It all started when Charleston White talked about how Tuka's mom helped after he found out about how he died, and how all his ops, including King Von, made a mockery of him.
I knew nothing of Tuka and FBG Doug until now. And when I heard about their mamas, when I heard about those kids, mamas, and how they was being treated, I showed love. Even though I don't know nothing about King Von Mama.
Yeah. Now, while Charleston claimed that he helped out the mother of kids who lost their lives in the Chicago gang war, his interviewer went on to tell Charleston that if he was going to do it for one mother, he needed to do it for all the mothers, including the mothers of the men who pulled the trigger, like O Block Menace, King Von.
And I think with that part being said, the only thing that kind of like, I guess, bothers the Chicago community is like, if you go do that, you gotta do that for everybody.
I ain't gotta do that. Y'all go do it.
That statement alone sent Charleston on a wild rant as he continued to yell about never helping a killer and the menace. It didn't take a while before the whole interview went left, and Charleston White pulled out a gun on everyone.
You gotta keep a mother gun.
But would pulling a gun on innocent black men not make Charleston White just as much as a demon? While Charleston White believes King Von deserved to die because he was a menace to society, rapper Boosie believed that although King Von was a menace, he probably wouldn't have lost his life if the situation happened in Chicago and not in Atlanta. Unlike many rappers who have condemned King Von for being a menace, Boosie had a closer relationship with King Von before he passed away. In fact, on the tragic day of the incident, King Von and Boosie had planned to meet up at a hookah lounge in Atlanta, where the incident happened.
The day he got killed, he hit me back and told me, I'm on it, I'm finna knock it out. And he got killed that night. Yeah.
Oh, he wanted you to come out to that lounge? The hookah lounge?
You know, like the hookah lounge was telling me, come out. Everybody was trying to get me to come out. I was gonna go, bro, but,
Sadly, Boosie couldn't make it to the club on that fateful day. According to Boosie, although King Von may have been a menace, he believed that if he had been at the club, he would have been able to talk them out of getting into such a complicated situation. But aside from that, Boosie also believed that Quando Rondo's goons were only able to take out King Von because his main gangster, who could protect him, weren't by his side on that fateful day. According to Boosie, Von's crew would have been more ready if they were on the streets of Chicago.
King Von
I almost feel like, yeah, but I almost feel like if you have real security,
all the was black. I think they kind of underestimated Atlanta. I don't know, but I feel like they would have been more ready in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they would have been, because Atlanta...
Could there be some truth in what Boosie is saying? Could King Von have won the fight if he had been in Chicago? Many rappers have also subtly called King Von out, but with Lil Durk and the O Block goons waiting to take out anyone who disrespects King Von, do you think they would be bold enough to disrespect Von's name publicly? And is it right that King Von is being idolized in the rap industry today?
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes trying to find the right...
Alright, y'all. That's the end of this video. Let me know what y'all think of King Von, man. It's some shit. That's all I'm gonna say. It's some shit. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.